and they've identified the right guys. You gotta do that, and I think Wyatt's the right guy. Now,
Jared Sandler's with us. We're in prime form today. It's almost Friday. You can hear him on Victory Plus, the new Rangers channel, and you can hear him on the radio everywhere. All right, Mr. Rangers. Jared, great to have you on. Let's get right to biz. First, back-to-back 1-0 wins in Cincinnati. Are Rangers fans freaking out right now with excitement about a team that looks like they're going to be really good again?
yeah, I think the fact that they won obviously hides the fact that their offense hasn't really come to life just yet. But yeah, I think the way they went about it. First of all, Rangers fans love Nathan Eovaldi. I know he hasn't been with the Rangers for 10 years or anything, but because of 2023 and everything he did, during that postseason run, I mean, he walks on water for Rangers fans. Nothing will change that. And so when he does what he did, throwing a complete game shutout, it kind of washes away the fact that they really do much offensively. And then yesterday, Jack Leiter being the first leg of that quintet of pitchers to deliver the shutout, that's huge too, because I think Rangers fans look at Jack as the second overall pick, even though his college experience was far different. He was only there 2 years. One of those years washed away because of COVID. And you guys know that everyone wants every second overall pick to make an impact right away. And it's maybe been a little bit of a slower progression for Jack, but he was the AAA pitcher of the year last year. This is the year for him to show that he is ready to be a big league pitcher every 5 days. And so far, so good. And for him to do what he did, 5 shutout innings yesterday, I think has people excited. Now, the 5-2 record helps. The offense needs to get going, but right now the pitching's been outstanding.
The blister? Are we worried about the blister, or was it a blister that was going to form by like a hot spot, I think they had said?
Yeah, so I can only trust Boch at this point, especially with the day off today. We're not going to get an update, but he said that Jack probably could have come out for the 6th inning, but with the off day today and with a rested bullpen, because 2 days prior they had stayed away. I mean, the Rangers got their tail kicked, so they didn't need to use any of their leverage arms. And then with Eovaldi going CG shutout the day before, they had a fully rested bullpen, and so I think they just were of the mindset, hey, no need to risk it. It's fine. He'll get an extra day with the off day today. The relievers, they don't need to worry about overextending them. So I don't think it's a big deal, but Kratzy, you know how this is. I mean, you can get that messaging from the team, but until you know for sure that guy is going to be on the mound when his turn in the rotation comes up, I guess I don't know for sure, but the messaging after the game was that it wasn't really a big deal.
He's got to pee on his hands. He's got to pee on his hands, pee on his fingers. Right?
There you go.
This is a loose style. Right, or pickle juice. What did we say? What did pickle juice? What was it? Tyler Glasnow pickle juice. So whatever it takes for Jack to be out there. But how good can the Rangers pitching be? We saw Eovaldi. We saw DeGrom have a nice start. Leiter's had a couple good starts. He also got hit in the nether regions in one of those starts, which has been everywhere.
Yeah.
And then Rocker, right? Rocker's shown glimpses. So how good can this starting staff be, and how much depth is there behind the guys we're talking about?
Hey, let me just tell you guys something quickly about Rocker. After he was on with you guys, I talked to him about it the day after. I was giving him a hard time about something he said. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was the $2 million in NIL that he said that he and Jack would get, and I don't remember what it was. But I love those guys. So Kamar Rocker's a big fan of y'all's. I know that you guys really take a lot of pride in doing a show the right way that players would appreciate, and so I wanted to share that. But I think if Jack Leiter is taking another step. I mean, I'll tell you, yesterday his slider was outstanding. His first start, he got 8 swings and misses on his fastball in the zone. And he's added a sinker that he's using more effectively. He's one of these guys who's got a kick change. We haven't really seen that be a dominant pitch by any means just yet. But, his ability to have success in the zone and then also have a sinker that can play in the bottom part of the zone is, I think, a big step forward for him. But if you add Jack Leiter to Eovaldi and DeGrom, just as a guy who you can rely on and give you a chance to win every 5 days, that's huge. Let's not forget about Tyler Mahle. I mean, he didn't have a great start his first time, an inning and 2/3, but he didn't really get hit. He just wasn't throwing strikes, and the pitch count got up there. He's going to start tomorrow on Friday against the Rays, and so it'll be interesting to see what he looks like because. He's not too far removed from being a desired and coveted pitcher. And then, Kamar's that's an interesting one, right? What he shot through the minor leagues last year coming back from Tommy John and just busted down the door and forced his way to the big leagues. But he's got very limited upper level minor league experience. And so I think there's some questions, hey, could he benefit from a little bit more work down in AAA, or is he big league ready? And then the other question is, the last 3 years he's thrown fewer than 100 combined innings. And, one of the frustrating parts about our game is that we know that protecting arms is important, but there's no objective way to do it. And it's such a moving target. And so, is he going to be on some sort of innings restriction? I imagine he would be. And so I think, you could make an argument that going down to AAA, limiting the innings, not having to worry about it taxing your big league bullpen maybe could be a benefit early on. So we'll see what they do with Kumar Rocker. But, obviously the future is bright with Leiter taking a step forward with Kumar Rocker. But right now, the present day rotation, it looks like a good group. And their bullpen's not sexy, guys. It's not like they've got an Emmanuel Clase at the back end or someone who you're like, this guy is a bona fide stud in the ninth inning. But they have way more depth in their bullpen than they've had the last couple of years. Even their World Series year, a lot of options. And I think that it might take a few weeks, but I think they've got the pieces to figure out who fits where best. And so far, it's worked out nicely with Luke Jackson in the ninth and Chris Martin and Robert Garcia setting him up in the seventh and eighth innings.
Bochy figures out a bullpen. That's what Bochy does. Yeah. But this, what you were alluding to with Rocker, you can say that about everybody. Tyler Mahle's thrown 50 innings since 2002. Kumar Rocker hasn't gone over that threshold. Jacob deGrom, I don't even need to say anything. Jack Leiter, where are they going to find the innings? Do they have enough of a cachet in the minor leagues of like a Lance Lynn, a Kirk, a Kyle Gibson? No, they don't have. Who do they have that's going to get all these innings for them?
Well, yeah, and I thought that a Lance Lynn reunion would make sense, but Patrick Corbin is going to be that guy, and you're right, Kratzy. That's one of the challenges is. So Evaldi, you feel like can be on a normal leash, and it's crazy, but just from a workload standpoint, Jack Leiter might be second, among the five currently in the rotation. Guys, you're comfortable getting innings. It's just, going into the year, we didn't know to what degree he'd be able to be that guy just from an effectiveness standpoint. But yeah, with Tyler Mahle, you're going to be careful. With Jacob deGrom, you're going to be careful. I mean, I would be surprised if you see Jacob deGrom pitch into the seventh, the first month and a half, 2 months of the season. And really probably won't go six very often unless he's super efficient. And then with Kumar, they're going to be careful as well. That's where Patrick Corbin comes into the mix. Now, eventually they'll hopefully get John Gray and Cody Bradford back, and that will help. They are a little protected from a long relief standpoint with Gerson Garabito. They've also got some options in the minor leagues. And guys, this over 162, you need to have some ammunition in the minor leagues that can come up and help in the bullpen as needed. And when I talk about the bullpen depth, I'm not just talking about the 8 guys that are on the active roster. I'm also talking about guys who could conceivably come up and help, even if it's just an innings eating capacity. But Patrick Corbin is available. He was optioned. So unless there's an injury, he's not eligible until April 11th. But I think the expectation is that on April 11th or April 12th, Patrick Corbin will be in this rotation. And listen, we can all go to his baseball reference page and look at the numbers, and the ERA is not pretty. I think a couple things as far as that's concerned. The Rangers saw some developments and changes in his repertoire and his usage in the second half. He had one outing. I think he gave up 11 runs that skewed his ERA. If you take that away, I think his last 19 starts, he had an ERA in the mid-4s. And the Rangers offense has not produced at a high level yet. I think they feel good about, hey, if our number 5 starter has an ERA in the mid-4s, our bats will hopefully be able to answer the call there. But I think the Rangers also look at the innings. And the reality is Patrick Corbin has been a very reliable source of innings. And if they need someone in their rotation, to your point, Eric, who can just give them 6 innings on a given night and maybe wear it while doing it, then Patrick Corbin could be that guy. So I think he's kind of the answer to that question when he's ready in 8 days, when he's eligible to be optioned or come off of option and be activated. And he's going to be that innings eater to join Nathan Evaldi as a veteran who can hopefully be a relied upon source of rest for your bullpen once every 5 days.
Jared, what about this offense? What's going on? I mean, I know they won 1-0, but they're still not banging the ball around like we've come to expect with the Rangers offense with the names in this lineup. So can the offense improve from last year, and have they figured out how to hit 4-seamers?
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about this earlier, actually. Like last year, for the first month, it was the same refrain. Like, hey, they're going to figure it out. Their lineup is so talented, and you look back and they just never did figure it out. So I recognize the irony in me sitting here and answering your question, AJ, with that answer. I think they're too talented. They're going to figure it out. I think, I guess the difference between last year and this year is you referenced the fastball stuff. I mean, adding Jock Peterson and Jake Berger, I think will help dramatically. Now, they struggled against Hunter Green's fastball yesterday. I mean, his slider was nasty. But I thought they competed really well against Garrett Crochet's fastball on opening day. They didn't knock him around for a ton of runs. They left some meat on the bone in the second inning. Great situation, but they had some really competitive at bats. And then I think the real key here is Adolis Garcia looks like a version much closer to the 2023 Adolis Garcia than last year's Adolis Garcia. And we've seen how he can be an aircraft carrier for any kind of lineup. And then I mean, if you're worried about Corey Seager, who hasn't gotten off to a great start, then all right, maybe it justifies being worried about the lineup. I'm not, until this guy shows that he's not going to be a stud, then I'm not going to worry about him. I do think, a fair question that Rangers fans are asking is about the leadoff spot, because Marcus Semien is not coming off his best year. Now, he does have this even year, odd year thing going, and in the odd years, he tends to perform at a super high level offensively. And again, it's way early to make any kind of a move, but if he continues to struggle, I wonder how that might reshape the lineup. And you guys talked to Wyatt Langford, I know, when you came to Rangers camp. I just really think this guy is going to have a big time year. And I just think it's 7 games. Yeah, Cincinnati, really cold temperatures the first 2 games of that series. I don't know how that affected them. If it did, it didn't. I don't know. It didn't affect the Reds. The first game of the series, they scored 14 runs. But I think that I want to give this lineup a couple more weeks of runway before we start worrying. But I think after last year's experience, I think it would be understandable to worry a little sooner than you normally would, because we felt the same way last year about the lineup that never really got it going. And then I also think having Josh Young back, he should be back from his neck spasms when he's eligible off the IL here in the next few days. And I just think having a healthy Josh Young in that lineup helps. He can hit fastballs from the right side, which will help, along with Jake Berger, and then having Jock Peterson to crush right-handed pitching will be a big add to this lineup, I think, over the large sample.
How about extension season? Everyone's getting extensions across the game. Wyatt Langford, could there be something, maybe with a slow start, they could get a little discount?
It's funny. We were on the plane coming back from Cincinnati, and we just saw the Ketel Marte extension, which I know doesn't fit in the same category. He's a veteran, but obviously extensions the last couple of days. And Wyatt walks right down the aisle as we were talking about it. I wanted to stop and be like, Wyatt, has anyone asked? Like, what's going on here? I mean, he's the perfect candidate. Now, Rangers fans would have said the same thing about Evan Carter last year at this time. And maybe it's for the best that didn't, happen or hasn't happened yet. But yeah, if it's me, if you're putting me in charge, I'm doing it. I have so much belief in Wyatt Langford. I just don't. I don't have the say. Obviously, there's a risk. There's always a health risk. It's not a guaranteed thing. But I think you guys were talking about how the Braves have done such a good job of this. I know you've talked about in the past. They've taken the risk, but they've identified the right guys, and now. I know they're off to such a terrible start, but they have saved so much money by locking guys up that allowed them to build such a deep roster the last couple years. And they've identified the right guys. You gotta do that. And I think Wyatt's the right guy. Now, he might look and say, hell no. I see what Juan Soto just got. I'm a better athlete than he is, and I might not be the hitter, but the extension that I'm going to sign is one that's going to be about 5 times the value of what you're offering me right now. So I don't know from his perspective, but if you can sign a deal that still allows him to become a free agent when he's 29 years old or something, it seems to me like it would be worth every penny. I hope they're having those conversations. I don't know, but he is the perfect candidate for that sort of thing, no doubt.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.